Mic is on. We're on time. I have my emotional support Mickey cup. Restream has alerted the masses that it is indeed Dadvocate go time. We will see whose comment comes in first, and thus awards them the personal Dadvocate high five of first commentship. Sorry, I'm so blind. Says hi. Looked like it said hi harm or something. There it is. Hi harm was the first one to come in. So saying hi to someone else. I'm assuming what is it? Someone harmless. Oh, I forgot the first name. Chat just started loading for me. But good morning, Shane. You win this. That's just for Shane. If you high-fived me in that moment, how dare you? That's stolen valor. And you will be judged by the gods at the appropriate time. Let me know if I'm a little quiet, if I'm too loud, if you have any other complaints immediately. I know there's not any pet tax to just start off the stream, but there is an immediate miles. So actually I lied, there might be. I was like, do I want to wait 10 minutes in or do I want to let Miles out now? And then I forgot to let him back in before I even started the stream. But all my animals, they just want to do their own thing today. They're just chilling. So So good morning. Welcome on in. Gather round, gather round. Welcome or welcome back to yet another Dadvocate live stream. This is an audio only friendly stream, meaning you should be able to enjoy it like a podcast. This is a place where we typically talk a lot about relationships, dating, men, women, the differences between the two, marriage, breakups, divorce, parenting, co-parenting. We make fun of cheaters, we call out double standards, and there's a whole lot of other buffoonery and bungholery in betweenst all of that. I also like to start my streams by thanking my sponsors. All of you guys, especially those of you who like the stream. A very free, very easy way to support the channel. So even though I just told you that it's audio only friendly, reminding you that even though there are visual things we react to, I will do my best to verbally describe them to you. If you could at least look at your screen for long enough to like the stream, that would mean the world to me. And we should all give a special shout out, especially in the chat, to our YouTube and Patreon members who especially make a lot of the magic happen here on the Dadvocate studio. Okay. And if you're thinking about joining, you'll get a bunch of early access to stuff. You get members only live streams that are ad free and a lot more cozy and more of a one-on-one feel. We've got a Discord, which is pretty fun. And if you join the Patreon, there's also exclusive merch. So that's pretty cool. But also, enough plugging. If you're here live, feel free to enjoy all of the live benefits. Tapping into the chat, tapping into some super chats. As a reminder, this week, all super chats go to this goal here on screen. I don't do like donation goal bar progress very often, but all super chats go to getting me to DC. 4 reasons. Can't talk about it at the moment. Hopefully you understand, but anytime there's any kind of fatherhood initiative, I try to be there. I believe that it's really important to have issues that in a lot of ways people fear because they fear that it centers men. Good God. But we know that we have a fatherlessness epidemic in our country. We know that our children are suffering because they are not getting enough dad. So, if there is any kind of initiative that helps dad have more time in their kids' lives, I'm gonna try to represent that issue, provide my maternal, articulate voice toward that issue, and I appreciate your guys' support in helping me do so many things. But that is enough about that. I say we just get right into today's theme of the stream, which I've got a fun one today. I've got so much on the itinerary because I feel like this was a pretty easy theme for me to gather material for. It's so broad. I might use this one again. You'll have to let me know if you like this theme. It is rating Crashouts from least to most valid. If you don't know what a crash out is, I guess the unofficial slang terminology definition would be basically a melty bee, a mental breakdown, losing it, not having a good time. We'll go over some situations and we'll discuss, was that totally valid, absolutely warranted, or did they just lose it and Karen out for no good reason? And I figure it's always a good idea, it's always really fun to start with a crash out that's close to home. Let's start by rating a Dadvocate crash. One you'll get to witness live and in the flesh, because as you know, if there is ever something that always makes me instantly crash out, it's cheating and cheating logic. It's entire affair communities that exist to try to dismantle myths about infidelity. Their words. My interpretation is give each other new lofty rhetoric to gaslight their spouses and everyone around them into minimizing their continuous duplicitous nature of lies and betrayal as like, it's just like something people do sometimes and no one deserves to be shamed for it. You can already see me start to crash out. Let me get rid of that ugly bar. I just wanted to let you know that we'll occasionally see that bar down below as super chats float around. So every single time I go back and check some of these cheating communities, specifically the most consistently ridiculous and repugnant one called The Other Woman and the Wife. Every single time I check back on this page, and I think there's no way it could be any more ridiculous, because I've been making fun of this page since like 2022. Every single time I look back at what is coming out of this page, I'm like, there's no way it can get any worse. And then she comes out with something else and I'm just like, what am I looking at? Let's just get into this together. This one is a carousel, so a series of images, not exactly a video. And it reads, I promise I'll never cheat again. You sure about that? You sure about that? Like, what a wild... This is why I'm saying this is a person who has gotten extremely good at rage bait. This is a frequent user of the rage bait, but it's not satire. That's the part that really makes me crash out, you guys, is the fact that it's not satire. Like, she goes on to like really word salad it up, like dress it up to build a clientele who ideally begins to embrace these thoughts, which is terrifying, which makes me crash out, potentially justifiably. You let me know, because this next slide is where I really start to lose it, you guys. Never mind. It's not this one. It's not this one. Can someone promise to never cheat again? Sure, they can, but promises don't program behavior. I know, you guys are probably thinking, where in the world is she going with this? Wherever you might think she's going with this, I'm not sure if it's going to be worse or up to par with how bad you think it's going to get. But take a deep breath as we look at this slide, you guys. Cheating is like a plant growing toward the sunlight. The plant isn't betraying the shade. It's simply following its nature toward what it needs to survive. We've had it all wrong, folks. We've had it all wrong this whole time. There is no reason to be mad when we get cheated on. There's no reason to be upset at cheaters. Silly us. They're just doing what they need to survive. It's literally cheat or die in every single affair and infidelity situation. Like, honestly, by standing in their way, it's practically committing genocide. Like, we're pretty much all murderers if we don't let our partners cheat on us, or at least not, like, let them do it peacefully. They're just little baby saplings in this world trying to grow. To answer the question from 17 Master, does anyone other than Lauren actually read anything this woman says? So, fortunately, we are entering a pathway where she is truly growing more and more irrelevant. Literally, the only reason I check in on her is because of this whole, like, lawsuit situation. Like, I'm just trying to see, like, whatever I can until this lawsuit is over, which, like I said, the mid-case review and Spark Notes breakdown video is coming soon. I do feel like we're definitely at a point of, like, she's going to fade into obscurity, which I think would be best for her and her whole family. Honestly, I think that would be best, because this is not gonna frickin' age well. This is not gonna look good in any lifetime. Hammer says some plants are invasive weeds. That's a good point as well. And then Zomji, so good to see you. She really tried to blame evolution for cheating. Truly, if we play a game of, like, let's count the logical fallacies. So we can start with number one, which would be like false analogy. Like, categorically not even the same, because a plant is biologically designed and driven to move toward the sunlight, whereas, like, humans, they choose to betray. They choose to live duplicitously, to lie over and over and over again, to make up stories, to continue to engage in this act. And in addition to a, you know, completely false comparison, you know, there's also the false equivalence of the fact that, like, plants literally only move toward the sunlight for one reason only: photosynthesis. Humans cheat for a wide array of reasons: immaturity, impulsivity, mental illness, opportunity, addiction, sometimes, you know, bad home life as well, right? Like, that can also be true. But it's also like humans also make the choice. Like, there's so many fallacies here. she's like, okay, well, the plant isn't betraying the shade. Right, no one's accusing the plant of betraying the shade. You want to know the difference is that the plant cannot make legal and spiritual agreements with the shade, but humans choose to enter monogamous committed relationships. They choose that. And you know what also is like true 99% of the time is that cheaters would not be okay with being cheated on. And we all know this. We know this because otherwise they would have pursued an open relationship. They would have pursued polygamy. But they want someone who is loyal to them and they don't want to reciprocate. That's quite a big difference, I would say. Zomji continues cheating on evolution. Tried English. Yeah, I feel like I got what you were saying though. Levi, I missed you. This is the perfect live for you. But next, as we continue to read further, there's also this this like false comparison with identity, because she goes on to say we've been taught to identify sorry, we've been taught to attach our identity to our behavior and take other people's behaviors personally. But sometimes it's just self-preservation. So this is this argument of like, well, don't be offended. I didn't cheat on you to hurt you. I cheated on you because I wanted to have a good time, right? Like they think that that's gonna ease the pain. But like, don't think that I didn't notice this like subtle attempt to detach from the responsibility of your choices. Like, we've been taught to attach our identity to our behavior, as though being taught that is like wrong. Like she's trying to like conflate this with like the same thing as being oppressed by the patriarchy, which is like other fun buzzwords that are appealing to women or mistresses or side pieces, is if they can attach themselves to like some oppressive victimhood instead of the ones causing harm, if they can be like, you're right, the only reason I feel bad about this is because people want me to, not because I'm like actually causing harm and hurting people in a way that's totally avoidable. I'm just an innocent sapling, bro. Like the listen, we are not taught that our identity is tied to our behavior. That's baseline human pattern recognition. This is encoded in probably every like animal that has existed for thousands and thousands or centuries of years, right? Like very likely we've all learned to develop that kind of baseline recognition here of, oh, if this person repeats these behaviors, that is the kind of person who's going to do those behaviors. Like you can't just say, oh, don't judge me for my own actions when my actions are just nature. It's almost like she's trying to compare cheating to like urinating. Like you can't blame me for farting. It's just something my body does as a valid argument. But like, you can't blame me for cheating. It's just something humans do is not a valid argument. The temptation to cheat is probably something that the majority of humans are affected by. But like, there's also so many, the fallacy of like naturalistic morality of like, oh, well, because it exists in nature, I can't be faulted for doing it, is ridiculous. When like violence, child abandonment, eating our children when we get hungry is also found in nature, but you don't see me creating private groups and coaching communities to like support you, where I also brag about the fact that I make sure every member knows that they don't have to stop doing those behaviors if they join. Can you imagine like the child cannibalist and the mom? We're just a private little community where, like, if you want to talk about eating your children and cooking them in an oven and eating them limb from limb, like, we're not going to tell you you can't do that. Like, crabs do it all the time, so why are we being judged? You can't just tell me that I am a bad person for leaving my child in the middle of a back alley in some street 7 states away when, like, it's very natural. Like, sea turtles leave their kids to just go off to the ocean right after they get out of the egg. Like, who are you to judge me for completely abandoning my child? Like, if I want to go out and party and leave them alone, like, they can try and find Cheez-Its or something. Like, so yeah, I'm just gonna join a group of women who like feel the same because we don't need this judgment. We're above that. Get off your high horse, people who actually spend time with their kids. That's that's what she sounds like. I'll let you guys see the rest of this carousel real quick to see if I can spot any further fallacies, but like, do I even need to? I do feel like I kind of need to in a way though, because like I said, this is not satire. This is a woman who, honest to God, unironically, is trying to gather clientele, is trying to build a business that flourishes off of people who want to continue thinking this way, who love being sold this ideology, who want to be inundated with this kind of lofty rhetoric so that they can just kind of offload any guilt or shame elsewhere. Maybe even this community might encourage offloading that guilt and shame to the betrayed spouse. I just, when I got here, I already saw it coming from a mile away. I'm just taking a look at this and I'm like, I'm also getting a bit of the fallacious implication that maybe it could be the betrayed spouse is not providing enough sunlight to the poor sapling. And so they have to go elsewhere. Who wants to bet that that's coming up in the very next sides? Because I can call these things. Fleeting Infinity, thank you so much for the member message. Says, unlike plants, they can remove their roots first. Like, you want to make these analogies? Please, we can match you analogy for analogy, girl. Like, we truly can do this all day. Will Honorless, thank you so much for the generous 5. I just got an image now of that ancient picture of Saturn, but it's Lauren. Can someone link me to the reference here? What is the ancient picture of Saturn? Like something someone drew? Is it like a Crashout related image? If there is one thing that I am like fantastic at, it's completely misunderstanding super chats. If you ever want to like make Lauren confused for her next 4 turns, you just hit her with a super chat, apparently. So this continues on. Think of a river carrying through or carving through landscape. Cheating is spreading water to different wildlife and nature, by the way. That's really what it is. The water isn't betraying the original path. It's finding the route of least resistance toward its destination. Sometimes human connection flows the same way. It's just a river, man. Cheating's just a river. Again, I feel like I just have to keep reminding people, like, cheating is never, especially long-term affairs, honestly, just a one-night stand is actually like a cakewalk compared to a long-term affair, because long-term affairs are so much more than just like, oh, you're finding someone who understands you, you're happy, you're getting laid, that's great. But while you're building a home with someone, especially if you have kids, you are now offloading onto your partner extra domestic labor, probably extra financial stress because you're now investing in a completely new relationship. Many people skip work in order to be with their affair partner. A lot of financial pressure that they now have to make up for, childcare that you are clearly absent for, the emotional damage of all of the gaslighting you're doing and lies that you're telling. Everyone listening who has ever been gaslit by someone, which is just like being told you're crazy for thinking that, you're crazy, you're thinking that, meanwhile you're right the entire time, that has such long-term damage on your self-confidence. And you can't just blame them for that. You can't be like, well, if you're upset about being gaslit, that's a you problem. I'm really restraining myself from crashing out as bad as I want to, actually, because I'm really close to actually like blowing steam out my ears. This is crazy. It's also like, are you actually trying to frame cheating as just not betraying at all? Like, you understand, you literally could not cheat on a person if you yourself did not make a very specific agreement with this person. Like that, you can't cheat on someone with your when you're single. You can't do it. Like, you can hurt someone's feelings, but if you're single, you can't cheat. The reason that you're cheating is because you looked this person in the eyes and told them, I don't want you sleeping with someone else. That's the only way that you're in a situation where you can even cheat on someone. That's the craziest part, is the only reason that you are able to cheat on someone is because you did not want to get cheated on. Isn't that wild? You could prevent the issue that you're in right now of being accused of cheating by simply not, if you don't mind getting cheated on, all this could be avoided. Sometimes human connection flows the same way. But the thing is, like with the river analogy, it's actually like you're flowing around and your partner's trying to flow around, but you keep building up dams. You keep building up dams so they can't flow with you. You keep building up dams so that they can't build their own path. And then when they're like, babe, why are you building all these dams? They're like, I'm not building any dams. You're seeing things. That's your own insecurity that you think there's a dam there. Maybe it's you who doesn't know how to flow. That's what's actually happening in this analogy. You're not just flowing and your partner's like, "No, don't." Like, that's what's actually happening. Miles, chill. We cloak cheating in prettier labels. Strategic, blessed, gifted, opportunistic, lucky. Sound familiar? No. Maybe 1 in 4, but mostly these are not words that I would use to describe a cheating situation. Strategic, yes. Again, especially for long-term affairs, like I think that we can probably all agree that to carry out a long-term affair, you have to have some kind of strategy. Opportunistic, yes. I think we should both, I think we've both agreed on this, actually. Like me and the other woman and the wife, I think we've both agreed because she always is trying to say, like, people don't plan to cheat, they just fall into it. So, like, this isn't like all of us trying to cloak it. These are words that can be used to describe it, but like when I'm talking about like, oh, I just found out my friend Lisa cheated on her husband Derek, I'm not like, God, what a blessed affair. Wow, what, can you believe she was so gifted to cheat? Wow, they really got lucky cheating in their marriage. What? Do you guys know what they're talking about here? What? Hold up. Lacey says, Yo, Lauren, that is what just went down last night with my mom. I wonder if she's getting coaching from Cece. Please post in the Discord in our like cheating drama Discord sub. I need the tea on this, or just DM me directly. Cause what? I'll offer you free coaching, girl. Man, it's apparently helping friends through some bad divorce breakup seasons. I got a couple friends going through it right now, actually. We call it quote unquote cheating. Like, good God, the divorce from reality, like the attempt to avoid accountability is like could not be more potent. It like if this attempt to dodge responsibility was a brand of marijuana, you could smell this shit through the Tri-County area. Like you would get a contact buzz from a state over, dude. What, like while wearing a gas mask. That is how loud the like absolute refusal to be honest about what you're doing. Like the fact that you won't even call it cheating when your name is the other woman. The fact that you won't even call it cheating. We call it cheating when someone seeks nourishment elsewhere. Bruh, when my husband is like, I was thinking about making dinner tonight and I was like, I honestly just want some Wendy's. He's like, that's cool. You know what I mean? He's not like, why are you cheating on me? It's not the fact that you're seeking nourishment elsewhere. It's if you agreed that there were certain types of nourishment that we would not seek during the time that we are together. That's kind of the part of it, right? It's the same thing as if you choose to marry a recovered alcoholic or a recovered drug addict and they tell you like, I need you to be a safe place for me. If we're going to be together, we can't drink, we cannot do any kind of drugs, and you agree to marry them, but then you keep bringing liquor back to the house, you keep bringing entire pipes back to the crib. That's definitely a major betrayal. It's not like you're like, what? I'm just trying to nourish myself. Like, be so for real right now. Is the plant wrong for growing somewhere else? Yes, if they don't let the other plant grow somewhere else. Do you see, like you put yourself in the pot? This is like if the analogy is like the plant has complete upward and capable mobility, and you're like, hey, do you want to be in the pot inside, or do you want to like just kind of grow outside? And you're like, it's a lot safer from the elements inside, and that pot does look really pretty on social media. I choose the pot. And then you're like, I'm so freaking oppressed in here. Like, go outside. Like, you have every opportunity. What? You chose to be in there. So when you're getting the upper hand in life, at work, in friendships and opportunities, are you cheating too? No, because you literally never made vows in your marriage that you wouldn't have friends, that you wouldn't go to work, that you wouldn't join a running club, but you did make very specific vows about not freaking cheating on each other. So, probably not the same thing, babe. Cypher thank you so much for the generous donut. Says back for seconds, 30 minutes late, but it's fine, right? Absolutely fine. We've just only started on our first crash out, which is definitely my own. What an ending, you guys. This is why I refuse to promise to never cheat again. So bold, so brave, so strong. Trophy wife right there, guys. Isn't that exactly what you want to see? Is your brave, strong wife sitting there on a couch with her microphone and her mom jeans, her mom capris, saying, I will never say I won't cheat. Brave, strong, vulnerable. We should just erect a trophy, like a huge statue of her, outside of Washington, D.C. right now. God, what a strong person. Because I understand what cheating actually is. And I'm not interested in lip service. Let's go, Miss Ma'am. Oh, her spouse is not interested in her social media. He's probably so sick of this. Remember when you outgrew a friendship? Not because they were bad, but because you needed different conversations, different growth. No one called that betrayal. They called it growing up. Okay, you don't have to get married if you don't want to do the whole, like, agreeing not to split up thing. You agreed on basically life partners, or at least like very strong legal commitments to each other. We naturally gravitate toward what feeds our soul. It's always the hippy dippy word salad in careers, friendships, hobbies, food choices. Yeah, because choosing your life partner is the exact same thing as choosing what you want in your Chipotle bowl. She thinks we're all freaking idiots, is what this is. But I think that's very telling, is like, she's not being very shy about kind of basically just saying that she's trying to attract vulnerable idiots. She's trying to attract morons at their lowest points in life so she can sell them a freaking pipe dream. Maybe that's what they deserve, honestly. But in romance, we act like this basic human drive is criminal. You made it criminal. You did that. You did that. You got married and you were like, hey, let's not cheat on each other. Can we promise not to do that? I'd be really hurt if you did that to me. And they were like, okay. So that's why people are like, damn, I can't believe you did that thing that you promised someone that you would not do. You did that to yourself. You could have just been like, I'm Chelsea, a single woman, and you could go as many people as you want. And yeah, some a-holes might still shame you and be like, that's too many. You'll never find a husband. But like, you don't care about marriage anyway, except for when it financially suits you, it seems. Sorry, there's something in my eyeball. We try and figure that out. But it's like, if you're just a single person, then you owe nobody allegiance, and then nobody's going to be like, wow, you're cheating. Like, you don't even have to worry about any kind of criminal allegations. You can just go live your life. You're the reason that it's criminal because you made the rules where you said that you wouldn't do that. Am I crazy? Hold on, let me go check out my eyeball really quick and just make sure there's not like an eyelash effing up my whole life here. It doesn't look like there's anything. So why does it feel like there's something? Okay, I think I blinked it out. There's like a... It's gonna keep bugging me, but I'm gonna ignore it. Kenneth says dude is simping if he allows his wife to have that attitude. I don't know if it's simping so much as that, like, I think this dude knows that he's financially cooked, because even though the exact timeline of this relationship is like very confusing, because I've seen her say, oh, we've been married for 8 to 9 years, we've been married 10 years, we've been married 16 years. So I'm like, what is the actual timeline? But regardless of how long they've been living together, what I do know is that they live in California. And California is one of those like very, very strict states where like the second you are married, everything is community property. Like everything is divided down the middle. So it's my understanding this guy is like pretty loaded. So I think for him, it's kind of more of just like cheaper to keep her type situation at this point. I could be wrong. I could be 100% wrong. Like, he might actually love and adore her and absolutely love that she has chosen to center affairs and infidelity is what she wants to do charity work for, in her own words. He might love that, guys. Like, we might be being a little bit too close-minded. Like, he might absolutely love this, right? There might be a very special chair in the bedroom for him. This isn't about dismissing her or excusing harm. It's about recognizing that the same impulse that makes you switch coffee shops might be what's happening in someone's heart. Yeah, it's literally just the same thing as choosing to switch from a venti to like uh a grande. The exact same thing. But this is exactly what I meant when like I called it that she was going to find subtle ways to blame the affair partner. Like, it's so wild how there never seems to be any intellectual consistency in the type of like absolute slop that Chelsea presents to her cheating community, because this seems like she's trying to be reassuring to betrayed spouses and like it wasn't you. They were just like on a different path. Like, they weren't trying to hurt you. Like, they just started moving another way, which like would be nice if it was consistent. But then we see this slide of, if your garden isn't providing what the plant needs to thrive, like, again, so many of this woman's posts seem to insinuate like, oh, well, they wouldn't have to cheat if you were giving them what they really needed, when we know that like so many affairs and infidelities occur when people are perfectly happy at home. That's why there's an entire subreddit called r/cake eaters, because the concept is people who have their cake, it's delicious, they love it, it looks great, but they also want to eat other cake. They want to have all of it. Like, they want their hot, awesome partner who's getting like absolutely having sex with them. And they also want to just have sex with other people. Like, we know that this exists. Why are they pretending that this doesn't exist? She's claiming that she can help betrayed spouses, but I'm not sure how, when she's always only offering these kind of like one size fits all, like, oh, well, have you considered that you're just not providing enough? When that advice like would not help a lot of betrayed spouses who were doing absolutely everything right, but this person still just had like childhood wounds or like undiagnosed like neurodivergence or something else that not like, it's so weird because she comes so close. She's like, has nothing to do with the betrayed spouse except for the fact that like you're not doing a good enough job. Like, so that's my crash out. That's our first crash out of the day, is me listing an absolute litany of every logical fallacy that went into this production. I also just want to show you one more funny thing that makes me just laugh a little bit, is this. Comments on this post have been limited. Again, I do think she's going to fade into obscurity because a lot of it by her own doing. Like, she keeps limiting the comments, she keeps deleting comments and adding restrictions to her videos and her accounts, and that's of course going to limit how she moves out in the algorithm. She used to be quite a force to be reckoned with. Like, I remember when this whole cheating Chelsea lawsuit thing started, she actually used to have like quite an army behind her. Like, I didn't fully know all of this back then, but I would see like a ton of people would comment on her posts, and she got a lot of hate and a lot of shit. But there were also a lot of people who were like, "You don't understand. You've never been through it." And I remember when a lot of this started, and people would try to be like, "Hey, this is kind of over the top. You to be like attacking betrayed spouses like this." They would get like drowned out by all of her flying monkeys at first. Now I think a lot of it is because I think even her own community is starting to see the kind of person she really is, and is starting to learn a lot of things that they did not fully see before. I mean, I'm getting contacted by people who left the community who are one, basically confirming a lot of things that Kristen alleges within her lawsuit. Basically saying, like, all the things that she's saying were posted, I saw with my own two eyes. And they're coming out. I'm having a lot of former Chelsea supporters being like, I didn't know all of this. I didn't agree with a lot of the ways that she approached things, but now that I'm really seeing how bad it is, like all of the evidence out there, like she's kind of a menace. She's kind of a monster, you know? And I think that I really do think that hopefully this just dies out for her, because I just think that would be best for her too. I don't think that she's going to have a great relationship with her kids if this is what she chooses to continue doing. I don't. Maybe her relationship with her husband's great. Maybe he really does love this. I don't think she's going to make a lot of friends this way. I think that she probably has a lot of other skills that she could use for a lot of other better things. Like, I think that she could use her powers for good if we do a strong redirect here. Doom for Zombies, so good to see you. Thank you for the dono. Hey, look, I'm caught up. Nice. What do you guys rate my crash out on a scale of 0 to 10? Valid crash out being 10. 0 being like, Lauren, you need to redirect. This is not a big deal. What do you guys think? Valid crash out? Do I need to like chill out and just finally let her fade into irrelevance despite the ongoing lawsuit? Is this just not even worth wasting anyone's time on? Or do you think that like she's going to cause a lot of harm if she continues giving cheaters this space to just weaponize this? Because could you imagine, like, here's the thing, is like, I think any one of us would already be crashing out if we got cheated on. Like, no matter what, we would already not like that. But now imagine that you're like, oh my God, you cheated on me. And they're like, yeah, but like, think about it like this. I'm just growing toward sunlight. You're not providing sunlight, so you can't blame me for growing toward sunlight. This is what I mean when I always say that a lot of times the cheating is not nearly as bad as the gaslighting that comes during and after. Like, the gaslighting is actually the worst part. Like, that's the part that like really makes me crash out, because like if you find time to cheat on me, that doesn't make me feel stupid because I shouldn't have to audit you and monitor you anyway. Like, that's a you problem. But if you like try to actually sell me on this, like, I'm just an innocent sapling bullshit, like, I'm pissed off that you think I'm that stupid. Does that make sense? Like, now you're really, really treating me like I'm stupid. And that's what's gonna make me crash out, like, even harder. I feel like I'm getting rated pretty high on the crash out, but we're not at like a completely voted full 10. I wonder if we'll get there today. I do wonder. So that was our starting crash out. I think we can all agree. I might be a little bit biased, but I think that that was a fairly valid crash out. Next up, for this next crash out. Now, One thing that you should know about me is, of course, I don't really think that violence tends to solve things. I think that there's generally a lot better ways that we can handle things. We've covered a lot of videos this year about adults who have taken discipline, especially with legal minors, into their own hands, both figuratively and literally. And there's been a lot of debate with a lot of viral videos lately on if these people's crash outs and decisions to lay their hands on a teenager who's not technically an adult yet was appropriate or not. These tend to be situations where it's pretty split down the middle. So for this next crash out, I would love to hear what you guys think if you would rate it a 0 and the valid crash out scale as far as like, whoa, that person took it way too far, or 10, completely valid crash out, almost to the like, do it again level. All right, some of you may have seen this one. This one's making its rounds. What we have here is a text overlay that reads, "Stupid kid threw food at old lady. Old man's wife in Tim Hortons." Ooh, he's walloping.
No, I'm sorry, I'm on the old man side.
Our girl! Oh man, so this kid was apparently just launching food at this older lady, which I don't know if that child or young looking adult was an adult or not, but they certainly looked old enough to know not to freaking terrorize an innocent elderly stranger for no reason. I mean, maybe she was saying some absolutely heinous, atrocious, like racist, disgusting stuff. Maybe. I would be open minded to hearing anything to do with their side. I mean, it would have to be like very, very bad to warrant, basically throwing tomatoes at her. But assuming that he was just doing it to be a dick weasel, this older man starts absolutely wailing on him. None of this kid's friends are doing anything. They're just kind of sitting back like. At one point, another man walks up and he's kind of like, what's going on? And I believe that someone explains the situation to him because at that point, like, he himself lays a big ol' slap across the dome to this kid, too. Just an extra little cherry on top, if you will, of like a don't frickin' do that. Like, he got hit with not just one, but 2 red Foremans. That's how you know you did some dumbass shit. All right? I mean, that's pretty bad. I don't even think that any of the employees stopped it. I don't think that anybody like called the cops or tried to report it. I think that was one of those situations where like you kind of have to just sit back and take the L. Like I hopefully I hope to every god that this kid was not further stupid enough to really like try to file a report on this guy or like cry and say like this was not okay. Like even if a lawyer could make the case, which they probably could, he probably could make a valid case. There would be probably a countersuit, right? Because throwing food at someone is absolutely also assault for sure. But if you really go down the like complete technical legal rabbit holes, he would be charged as a juvenile if he's underage, and even if he was an adult, it would be a lesser crime than the older gentleman continuously swinging on him. it's actually fairly likely that if the kid acted very quickly, got police there very quickly, that old man could get arrested. His wife has to go home alone with freaking bagels in her hair or whatever, without her husband, because of these punk kids. And this is why my morality is not based off of legality, as no one's should be. Just because something is illegal or illegal doesn't mean that that should be what you base your entire moral and integrity principles off of. Because this is where it gets kind of murky with like legal and illegal situations, right? Like, should that old man, should any of these older men than this boy or young man laid their hands on the kids legally? No. But that's not what we're discussing today. We are discussing purely in the court of Dadvocate, a place where the rules don't exist and the points don't matter. I don't remember the exact quote from Whose Line Is It Anyway, but there's really no exact set laws. This is purely based on opinion and our own conjecture. What would you rate this man's crash out and response to this younger male presenting being who yeeted food at his innocent, presumably innocent wife? 0 being, dude, out of line. You could have moved away. You could have called to the police yourself. You could have pressed your own charges and legally dealt with it. This was not an appropriate reaction. The other guy probably shouldn't have joined in either. Or 10, completely valid crash out. That kid was probably long overdue. He actually got very lucky because that guy probably could have made his day a lot worse. You know, you gotta respect your elders. You gotta respect women, especially out in public. That was not a gentlemanly thing to do, and you deserve an ass whooping. But what do you guys think? 11. 10 out of 10 hammers. Damn, we're getting a 10 here. Easy 10. We made it. We made it. I don't know if we'll get a more valid crash out today. We're totally on this guy's side. I'm with you guys. Like I said, I don't typically appreciate that, but like, I'm even thinking, like, right now, I have a 17-year-old. I have a 17-year-old son. And man, if I found out, like, if I saw this video and that was my kid, and I found out he was literally throwing his food at an innocent old lady, and so the guy's husband gave him a few wallops, and someone else slapped him outside the head, I would probably tell him, you know, maybe they shouldn't have done that, but that is what happens. I don't know what you thought was going to happen. I don't know what world you thought you were living in, where you thought that you should get away with that. Right? Like, if that was my own son, I've never laid hands on the boy, but I can't ever see him doing something like that. But I mean, I would be like, what did you think was gonna happen? Now, Danny Boy does have a differing opinion. Says those adults could have hurt him. They smacked his face. There's a difference. You can do some damage, right? Potentially. Could have given him a concussion if the guy was like a lot stronger. Potential brain damage, potential like orbital socket damage for sure. From the looks of it, and maybe we can kind of like rewatch this together. He hits him 3 times, maybe on the head. Oh, it's a different guy that slaps him, not the same one who initially walks over. I wouldn't rate it like concussion level. The levels of like punches, it was three pretty decent hits. But I couldn't tell if he was, because the kid was pretty curled up. He was using defense curl at that point. I think he probably could take those hits like a champ. Then the slap, he's fine. He'll be all right. Hold on, wait. Danny Boy's yelling at me. Would TJ, if a 17-year-old did that to you, do nothing? That's what I'm saying. I'm pretty sure TJ would beat this kid's ass as well. TJ, okay, hold on. Let me text him. He's at work right now. The last thing I sent him was a booty pic, so he might respond really quickly thinking like we might be getting that combo breaker. I'm not trying to take advantage of this, but we might get a more expedient answer from him. Okay, that old guy beating the kid up in Tim Horton's video. My audience wants to know if some 17-year-old kid did that to me, would you do what the old man did? TJ, I don't know if he would go straight to swinging. I think he would get up and he would start yelling and he would make a scene. I think he would probably go so far as to be like, yeah, you think it's cute to get covered in food and then also cover the kid with food. I could see him doing that, but I think that he would do a lot of things before laying physical hands on the kid, unless the kid like doubled down. Like if the kid was like, well, your dumb fat bitch wife deserved it, or something like that, then TJ might see red. Then he would probably like, he might go berserk. I'm not sure. We will find out though. Shadow God says, tell Father Coconut we said hi, or at least I did. TJ says, dude, I would lay that little bitch out. I said, ha. I said you would definitely yell and cause a scene. Probably return the favor by also covering him in food, but probably wouldn't resort straight to violence unless he doubled down and kept going. But he continues and says, I'd start kicking a bitch. That kid's lucky the old man's hips and knees probably weren't strong enough to. Damn, so TJ actually would go straight to Muay Thai mode. He would be straight like, bah, bah, with the leg, you know? Okay. He's still typing. Ooh, I'm eager. Phil, thank you for the 5. Says, I've been assaulted by a minor. Phil just telling on himself right now. No, I'm just kidding. No, you can really, it hurts to get your ass beat by a kid just in their absolute physical prime. Tanked the hits, then held them down until the cops arrived. Are you talking about your own kid? Having it on camera kept me out of jail. Foster life. Called it. I'm like, are you talking about your own kid, actually? Dude, can we give it up for foster parents, by the way? No freaking joke. Like, parenting's hard enough. Foster parenting, though, Jesus. It's kind of like the difference between running a marathon and running a marathon in jeans and Crocs. Is that a fair analogy, Phil? Like, they're both very hard, but one involves way more chafing and blisters. Is that all right to say? Danny Boy says, TJ is a chivalrous gentleman of class and education. All right, in response to my guess, he says, I guess you're right. I'd return the favor and make a scene first, but I'd stay holding onto his plate if he ran that schmade mouth so I can smack him with it. Ooh, the plate would probably do way more damage, actually. That freaking hard ceramic? Yeah, you'd chip a tooth. Damn. Dude, wow, you guys really triggered TJ. Actually, we might have to vote on that crash out. We rated this old man's crash out as a 10. We might have to rate TJ's crash out to just the hypothetical of if someone threw food at me. Dude, TJ's already like, I can just see him at work right now, like, oh, oh, let me at this hypothetical punk. Let me at him. Dude, if someone threw like messed with TJ, I would go off. I would like somehow turn trans Latina. I would just start going off, dude. I've done it before. Don't mess with my family. I will go loco. Rate TJ's crash out responding to these text messages. Valid, 10. Not valid. TJ's crash out is over 9,000. Ask him what would happen if it was his mother. Probably the same exact thing. Probably the same exact thing, honestly. I just had to heart react his text. Justifiably ready. That's our man, y'all. That's our man. This is our relationship. So this one's not a crash out, but speaking of older couples, you guys always ask for like a wholesome break. So let me just give this one to you really quick. This says, the cutest older couple walks the halls every day for exercise. I live at the end of the hall, so I get like 0 traffic, but I see them daily. I think the music might be licensed. I'm going to turn it off. So, of course, I had to do the most and make them a cutie grab and go. You got this, Sally and Jack. Oh my gosh, they made like the whole thing. Oh, this is them reacting to the table. She loves it. Oh my gosh. My cheeks actually hurt. She gives the thumbs up. Day 2, he's waving. They're like, yes, we have our own little bar. Oh, she blows a little kiss. Oh, now they're getting. Oh, she gives him a little butt pat. Okay, she's putting on a show. Ooh, free cam service. Okay. He is so wholesome, dude. He's like, ooh, what should I get? She's always giving him a little booty pat. Oh man, that's amazing. I totally get mall walking too now. Like, I absolutely get it. Because it's like, the weather's not always great. And the malls do open really early. And it's free. You don't have to pay for a gym membership. Like, so if all you're trying to do is walk, you don't need to like run on a treadmill. It's perfect. And you can just go and go and go. And there's really endless entertainment at the mall. If you like people watching, girl, mall walking is where it's at. The tea is always teeing. But especially like walking with your person. Actually, TJ, I love this for us, but like TJ, one of his favorite things to do right now is as soon as he gets home from work, one thing that he likes to do that helps him decompress is just to go for a walk. And it's so nice. Just your husband coming home and you go for a walk together and you just get to like catch up about each other's day and enjoy the sunshine and nature. It's peaceful. I love taking walks. I really hope that like we just get to do that just forever and ever for all time. Very cute. Very cute. But on to more crash outs. Wholesome time is over. You got a brief respite. We're back in the game. Okay? These crash outs aren't going to judge themselves. So, this next man went on a fool's errand. Truly, he could have had it all. He could have had peace. He could have had solace. Maybe. Unless he's been going through this for a while and it was just time for vengeance. But I literally just made a whole video about how much I hate relationship tests. Maybe you've seen it. If not, should go give it a gander, should go give it a like. This next situation is unique because most of these relationship tests are performed by women. I don't tend to see a lot of men performing relationship tests on women. Feel free to speculate on why that might be in the comments if that is also your experience with what you've noticed. If you think I'm wrong about that, please let me know. But in this next situation that we shall look over together, this young gentleman, for some godforsaken reason, has chosen to go down this road of seeing what happens when he makes up a relationship test and attempts to perform it on his girlfriend. For once, we actually get to see a live gender swap in action. How do you predict it will go for him? Let's watch.
Whose man needs to hear this, but today ask your girl, if you were never born, would she date other people? If she doesn't say that's impossible because she wouldn't be alive, since she can't live without you, I think you should start a fight. Tanya, if I was never born, would you date other people?
Why would you never be born? You're like, you don't want to be with me?
No, I do. I'm just saying.
You don't have the enough willpower to exist
No,
in this
it's not that. I'm just saying in an alternate universe, if I was never born, would you date someone
Why
else?
is there an alternate universe?
It's just for the sake of the question.
This feels like, you know when people are like cheating and they don't want to break up with you and they give you like all these...
No.
If I was never born, would you be with someone else?
No, I've asked you first.
No, if I was never born, would you be with someone else? See? Like, why
No.
would you not say, no, I can't bear the thought of you never being born? Why are you saying no? Because like in your mind, there exists a possibility where there's this world where I was never born and you're with someone else.
I thought you couldn't live without me.
Why? You're calling me needy and like clingy and like, ay nako, ewan ko sa'yo, pero I'm not like that. Like, what do you think of me? Like some insecure?
I don't know whose man needs to hear this, but...
As it turns out, no one's man needed to hear this. No one's man needed to poke that bear. Talk about a freaking Uno reverse card, dude. That could not have possibly gone any worse for him. I mean, from the immediate jump, he goes, if I was never born, would you date someone else? And she's like, you don't have the willpower to be born so we can date each other. Like, immediately, you don't have the willpower to make sure there's not another alternate universe. He gets accused of potentially cheating to deflect, and that he's trying to start a fight to like re-administer guilt and blame. Then she steals the question and hits him with it. And he forgot the answer that he prepared. He could have won. He literally already had the right answer in mind, but he was so flabbergasted and flummoxed that he failed the test that he prepared for himself. That's art. That's beautiful. That's just, here's the thing is like, you know, you just, sometimes you just don't go in trying to beat people at their own game. You know, whatever that may be, he really came for a real player here. He really tried to outsmart a woman at womaning. I don't know about that. It's like trying to out nothing box a man. Good luck. Good luck. What are y'all saying? Zomji says, the immediate switcheroo too. Hammer says, your reminder to like the stream. That's right. That's right. I tried to throw it in at the beginning, but there were some people who they were like, oh, I forgot. I do need to like that. He's fighting way out of his weight class. Absolutely, Kim. Now, how do we rate this as a crash out? Now, to be honest, it's not fully a crash out, right? But I had to include this one because I thought it was funny. I also don't know whose crash out to rate. If we should rate his crash out from how he handled his own test, or her crash out from being presented with a relationship test. What do we think about that one? Matsu says, thanks for the like reminder. Yay! No like left behind. We'll get you all. That's so funny, dude. Have you guys ever tried that? Have you guys ever, like, tried to hit your partner with a test? Which test did you try to hit them with? I don't know if I've ever tried, like, a test. I've definitely asked my husband, like, hypothetical questions out of curiosity. There's no like button on the purple app. Twitch? That makes sense. I guess I always forget about that. I'm giving a WTF out of 10. Valid. Samantha just says no. All right. So for this next one, we're going to rate the crash out of a couple and a crash out that led to a very unique parenting rule that might have an effect on some of you. And then I want to know how hard you guys crashed out to seeing their crash out. You'll see what I mean. You'll see what I mean. Okay? Audio only crew, you don't need to look. We have a couple on screen. If I had to describe them charitably, it looks like a very liberal couple. Is that fair to say? All right. I mean, I guess dude is like fairly could fit into like any archetype. Great hair, great mustache game, glasses. The lady involved has kind of got like a pixie cut, cute yellow skirt. So they're about to tell us why, so far what we know from the text on screen is, we are about 3 weeks into a Bluey ban in our household. What did Bluey do? This might be worse than what we watched yesterday when we saw Chuck E. Cheese getting arrested. Now, why in the world is Bluey in the doghouse? But
Okay, so we are about 3 weeks into a Bluey ban in our household, and you were the first one to notice that Bluey was starting to impact their behavior. So what did you notice?
It typically starts with them just constantly pushing boundaries or immediate tantrums when the show or whatever is over.
I mean, same, bestie. I too be throwing a tantrum when Bluey's over and I don't get to watch more. But, okay, first of all, testing boundaries will happen under literally every circumstance of parenthood. There are none of us who get out of our kids testing boundaries, and they actually never stop. We as humans actually will continue to test boundaries for our entire lifetimes, I fear. This also reminds me right away of a kid that I grew up with whose parents told him that he couldn't watch Rugrats because they disobey their parents.
And I think a big thing with that is like the episode format itself. Like, I feel like we don't see that so much with like slower paced shows, but also just like longer shows. Like, it didn't matter with Bluey how much we would like set expectations of like, this is how many episodes we're gonna watch. It's like something about that 8-minute format where they're just like, more, just one more.
Yeah, and they can't, like, you can't have any really good conflict resolution, I feel like, in that amount of time of storytelling.
And yet they manage it perfectly. Isn't that spectacular that within 8 minutes we get to experience so many emotions, and like most of the time such absolute resolutions, and if not such a cut and dry resolution, at least a great experience. Like, I'm not understanding why you're not able to commit to something that's like a very basic commitment, something that happens so consistently that you should be able to draw a very consistent commitment with it. Like, you know, they want to watch Bluey, right? Let's say they're like my kid, and it's like they want to watch Bluey before school while they eat their breakfast and before they start like really, really getting into the nitty gritty of getting ready, like brushing hair, brushing teeth. You can just say, while you're eating breakfast, we'll watch 2 episodes of Bluey. And then when those 2 episodes are over and they're like, but I want to watch more, you're like, we said 2, right? We said 2. This is pretty normal for this time of day. We do 2. And that might be like difficult to make a Bluey reference for the first like couple of days, but eventually they will learn. Okay, every single time I ask for another episode, they say we said 2. So like, I'm not gonna keep wasting my breath. Eventually they'll run out of steam. Okay, I don't understand why we are having such a hard time with this one. Like, it's also just such a extreme reaction. Like, if your kid makes a big deal about cleaning up toys, which is another thing that, like, I'm sorry, as a parent, you're also not getting out of that one. There has never once been a kid on this planet who makes a mess, and then every single time they make a mess, they're like, I can't wait to do this completely by myself, without any help, without any complaint. Like, you don't get out of that one. That is like the free space on the bingo card of parenting. Like, that just comes with the board, you know? But like, if they don't want to clean up the toys, you don't say like, okay, so we're never going to have toys. We're just going to be a house without toys. Like, that's not an appropriate reaction.
I think the biggest piece that I started to notice after we took
Wait, sorry, I missed a super chat and I don't want to forget, and I just want to make sure I didn't miss another one. Sweet. Okay, I see the one. Tracy, so good to see you. Thank you for the 2. Already crashing out, pushing boundaries are normal. I know.
a break from it was the ways in which it was like making them think that like naughtiness is funny and that like pushing boundaries is a joke. And I think like you said, there's not a lot of conflict resolution in an 8-minute episode, and I know that each one like wraps up with a moral, but at least for our kids I feel like they weren't getting to the moral.
Well, they don't, like, the morals come way later. Like, they're still pretty young, and like they just see that like Bluey and Bingo spent most of the episode, you know, kind of annoying their dad, and they're like, oh, that's fun. Mm-hmm. That looks like fun. Let's do that.
Yeah, like one thing.
Okay, so like kids think that poop is really funny for a really long time. That is also in the free space of parenting. Like, it just comes with the board. None of us get kids who don't think that poop, farts, and butts are funny, as they should, because they are funny. Now, at a certain age and for a while, it's like almost hyper prevalent in like almost every conversation. They will change song lyrics to reflect poop and farts and butts. They will change names to reflect poop and farts and butts. They will draw poop and farts and butts. You get where I'm going with this, but it's not like you say like, okay, any discussion of poop and farts and butts in this house is over. It's banned. Like, your kids will make fun of you forever. And you might not care about that. Like, a lot of parents are like, I don't care if my kids like me. I'm here to parent. I'm not here to be their friend. Like, I get that. I'm also not here to like constantly impress my kids either. We all have to be the not fun parent, the disciplinary parent. Absolutely. But like, I'm sorry, if my parents, most of my parents' rules I completely respect. If they told me I can't say fart, I would never stop laughing at that. Like, I would never stop making fun of them for that. That's so funny.
I noticed after you like brought all this up was Z's new thing of like pushing a boundary and then going tee, which is like so not okay. And I don't know if you've noticed this, but I feel like that has really dropped off.
Yeah, I mean, there's still behavior stuff, but like,
always, they're 5.
He's not.
This is also very normal human behavior. Like, this isn't like not age appropriate. This isn't like developmentally inappropriate. This is actually another thing that will probably stay consistent well into adulthood, is the very natural human reaction of like kind of giggling to disarm a difficult situation. This can be used manipulatively. So in certain situations, I can see why you might want to nip it in the bud, but a lot of times, like, people just laugh as a reaction to stress to try to ease the situation, right? So, like, if a kid is like, Mom, 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 and you're like, Stop, I'm busy. And they're like, Mom, Mom. And you're like, I said stop. And they're like, like, you're, yeah, like, that's the, they might do that, but like, what are you gonna do? Like, punish them for giggling? I don't know. Like, at that point, like, I think that that's an ego injury on your part as the parent.
Doing it like, this is a fun joke. Hee hee hee. Yeah.
Totally. So, yeah, I'm sure Bluey is fine for many families, but for us, like, it's crazy to me that people call it a low stimulation show. Like, I do not see it that way. So we've switched to Shape Island or Frog and Toad, or Stillwater was one of my favorites, although I feel like they've kind of grown out of it. But yeah, so I think we're going to stick with this Bluey band for a while.
And that means that I am crying a lot less. So that's always good too for me.
Okay.
All right. So the caption reads, "We are 3 weeks into a Bluey ban and it's been really good for our 5-year-olds." Oh, 5-year-olds. Okay, maybe twins? As an adult, I love Bluey. It's fun, sweet, playful, and cute. I think it does a great job of inviting adults to see the world through the eyes of a child. But our kids weren't making it to the moral at the end, and that was a problem. When I took to my stories to talk about our Bluey break, I fully thought it'd get me canceled, but it turns out we're far from alone in this. Do you think Bluey is a low simulation show? Comments on this post have been limited. There's quite a mixed reaction to this. There's quite a few people who are like, what? Which is me. But then there's quite a few other people who are like, yeah, it's really not low simulation enough for me. And a lot of people kind of giving more low simulation alternatives or ideas for these parents. I find it very interesting that they're like so hyper focused on making sure that their kids walk away from every 8-minute cartoon with like some kind of newfound moral principle. I don't think it's that serious at the age of 5. I think as long as they're coming away with it with maybe like some new words, some new introductions to different cultural pieces, different ways that different people live their lives, right? It's probably a net win. Like, one 8-minute episode could teach your kid the game Keepy Uppy with a balloon, and that's just hours of unbridled entertainment with no screens. So I don't know. That's an interesting one. I'm wondering like how long that will last, and yet, you know, that's their decision. I'm sure it won't last forever. I'm sure their kids will eventually get to the age where they're like, okay, I mean, we don't mind if you watch Bluey anymore, you know? So as far as my personal vote on where I would rank this couple's crash out, I would probably put it at like a 6. Because they're not like really freaking out about it. Like, they're upset. They've made a strong decision and they've decided to make a video complaining about it. So it's like a mid. And I do think like their general reaction to Bluey is an overreaction. I like, just compared to the general median of cartoons out there, like, I'm not really sure what she expects as the gold standard, But you're also allowed to let your kids watch whatever you want to watch at 5. Like, they're not really going to care what you put in front of them anyway. So, I would rate it a 6. An overreaction, but whatever. My own personal crash out really reaction to it, probably also a 6, I would say. Because I also decided to film my reaction to it and to be like, what the hell? I'm judging y'all. Hammers, thank you for the very generous dono. Says, I have to say, I find it very irritating when people start blaming shows, sometimes even objects, things like that, for bad behavior. I personally believe that we need to teach that not everything we see or hear is good advice. Yeah, I agree. I mean, there's certainly things that I watch where I'm like, by the way, don't do that, with my kid. But you hope that they learn some baseline discernment. That like not everything, and I think that your kid is probably better at delineating between like this is something people only do in cartoons and this is something we do in real life. But as long as you're parenting and active parenting, I feel like your chances of them not completely being terrible goes up pretty significantly. But yeah, man, I don't know. I've actually heard of that complaint about Bluey before though. That and you know what it is? I think that when people complain about Bluey, I usually think that they're kind of telling on themselves of not wanting to parent as well as Bandit and Chili do. Because most of the people that I've heard complaining about Bluey are like, well, they set unrealistic standards for how much parents play with their kids. And I'm like, do they? Because I remember a lot of episodes where they do set pretty fair boundaries with the kids. Like Bandit's like, hey, you need to leave your mom alone. Or, hey, your dad is leaving to go do this. Hey, your mom is going to go have her own time and go do this. Hey, you guys need to go play outside by yourselves. Like, I feel like that's pretty consistent. But yes, the parents do play a lot with their kids. Do you feel like that's a bad thing? Like, do you feel like you're playing with your kids enough and they're doing it too much? Or do you maybe feel like you're being shamed because you don't play with your kids? Like, I feel like it might be a little bit of that. Because, I don't know, I watch Bluey and I'm like, man, this is really relatable. I love this. That's a good idea. We do something similar. But the people who are like, I don't know, it's just not realistic. Like, no one parents like that. I'm like, a lot of people don't, and that's sad. But a lot of people do, and that should be celebrated. Oh, Hammers, thank you for another one. I've also never seen Bluey, so I could be totally wrong, but I'm imagining a kid's cartoon. It's great. I love it. I love it. Okay. For this next one, we have a crash out situation. And this one is a little bit of a partner shaming crash out. It's a 3-part series. And as I always talk about with partner shaming, this is when a person either records directly the thing that their partner is doing wrong or is talking about the thing that their partner is doing wrong. They publish it publicly for the entire masses of social media to judge and weigh in on. And then usually when that judgment becomes a bit too much, they usually make a follow-up and they're like, just kidding, it's fine, you guys took this way too far. You're probably familiar with that format. Usually, though, in the partner shaming videos, what the partner did wrong usually is bad. I just don't know if it's appropriate for us all to be in on judging it. Right? Just some thoughts. Now, before we get into this next one, I'm going to take a very quick BRB break. I'm a little hungry, need a little bit of a snack, need to run to the bathroom, need to change my camera battery. So, it's 12:30 Eastern Standard Time. This won't take more than 10 minutes. We're going to take a quick BRB. We're going to get back in to judging Crashouts when we return. So, don't go anywhere, but use this time to go get yourself some snacks, take care of some things yourself. If you're not watching live, just tap the fast forward 30 seconds button a couple times and you'll be right where you want to be. But everyone else, give me just a few minutes. I'll be right back. All those suckers who left during the break sure are sorry now, huh? They simply do not know what they are missing out on. An angel boy. I burgled him from his favorite place, the sink. Any of y'all got a sink cat? He loves the sink. So anyway, now that we're back, before we get into some further crash outs, I get a message from my mod. Bless his heart. I believe he means well. But he goes, Lauren, are you okay? You seem stressed or tired. And I'm like, what? And he sends me a picture of my face. Like this face. The one you guys have seen since 11 a.m. And I'm like, what am I supposed to be looking at? And he's like, you're obviously tired and ridden with anxiety. It's clear that you're running on autopilot and something's wrong with you. And I'm like, what? Like, you guys ever, I know you guys have had this happen where you're at work existing, but maybe like existing with a different frequency than like people would like or something. And they're like, are you okay? You look so tired. And you were vibing, like you were having a good time, and now you're like, I was literally fine, but now you're making me insecure. Like, I appreciate your concern, but like, I was literally just like, I'm fine. Do I have bags under my eyes? Like, now I'm like, what especially if like I'm hyper focused on something, like especially because I used to literally be like fixing technology, like you zone out, and I'd be hyper focused and someone would be like, why are you so pissed off? I'm like, I wasn't, but now I am. Now I am annoyed. So anyway, this crash out, this partner shamer, I want to know what you guys think about this. Probably like all partner shaming falls under the crash out umbrella, but I want to know if you guys consider this crash out valid or invalid, especially if you like food.
So my son tells me, Mom, Dad already ate all of the groceries and it's not fair. He ate the entire chicken and there's none left, and now I have nothing to eat. So my son wants me to spend $25 a day so he can eat out because my husband, his dad, eats all the food. And it's true. I'm like, oh, I know. I've been dealing with this since 1998. I used to want to have a bowl of cereal for breakfast, but guess who drank all the milk? My husband. Every single time. It's like he has no self-control. He couldn't just have a glass of milk. He had to chug like the entire gallon. So every time that I'd go to have cereal, no milk. So I would complain about it, and then my family just made fun of me and said I was being ridiculous and that poor Ben, he should be able to have a glass of milk if he wants to. So basically, since 1998, I have realized if my husband loves a food, I just don't buy it anymore, because if I want it, it's not there. If he likes, say I used to like Diet Pepsi and Diet Coke, I would buy it, he'd drink it all. Like 12 cans in one day, he would drink it all. And now that's what he's doing with protein. So I buy like steak, rotisserie chickens, beef jerky, protein drinks, and he's consuming it so fast that my son, who's almost 17 and hitting the gym and trying to build up his muscles, doesn't get any. So I just went and bought 2 rotisserie chickens, and I'm going to label them. I think I'm going to put a line of tape down the middle of the fridge that says, this is Dad's side of the fridge, and this is Son's side of the fridge, so that there will be no more complaining. Everyone needs to share.
Whew, okay. A few thoughts before we get into part 2 and part 3 of this. My first thought is I have never in my life eaten an entire rotisserie chicken by myself. Not even like, not in one sitting, like over the course of a week. I've still never eaten an entire one by myself, but like in a day though, in an entire day, this man must be huge. He can sit down and eat an entire rotisserie chicken. Milk too, like this is where I'm partly wondering, like, are you exaggerating? Is it like no one was really touching the rotisserie chicken? So yeah, over the course of 3 days, it did get eaten. With the milk, is it truly gone in like 1 day, or just like he happens to have the last of it? I'm not sure. I will say this though, our general rule in the house is if you take the last of something, like at least write it on the shopping list. But if it's like a staple in the home, we usually kind of make like almost a public service announcement, especially with milk, because everybody eats cereal around here. So if there's no milk, you do kind of have to like say, like, just so everybody knows, I'm using the last of the milk. And then from there, we can kind of make a plan. So like if I use the last of the milk, a lot of the times my husband will still refill it because he likes to go to the store and get a donut in the morning. I don't like to leave that early in the morning, but he doesn't mind. So a lot of times he'll just go get it, but I will announce it. I will make sure that no one has a dry bowl of cereal, right? Same with like if there's anything like really important to me. So my protein drinks, yes, those I have at least one every single day. I let my stepson have them because he's also an athlete, but I do let him know, like, you have to let me know if we're running low, and if there's only one left, you have to save it for me. I need it in the morning, like, without question. I will be upset if I do my morning workout and there is not a single protein drink left. So you have to at least leave me one. And like, I don't really have any issues with people like eating overly consuming in my house. But if there is something where I'm like, this is mine. See, I'm 4'11", so if there's anything that the boys don't want me to eat, they just put it on the top of the fridge. And that just puts a stop to that right there. But for the rest of us who don't have such a luxury of height privilege, we have to communicate here. So assuming positive intent, it sounds like maybe he's not consuming it right away, but like believing her, it seems like there's a bit of an overconsumption problem. But like she said, since 1998 so many times. So it's been like 20 freaking years of like you just stopped buying things you like because he doesn't let you have any. Like what is going on at this point? It feels like probably a failure on both of their ends of communication now, because what is really going on? God, 2 rotisserie chickens in the fridge though, and you're worried that your husband will eat them both? I guess food addiction is a thing, you know? Let me see. Erin says, my mom had a rule in our house. They didn't care what I ate, just as long as I didn't throw any of it away. If you pick it out of the fridge, you're gonna eat it. Oh, yeah, that would definitely piss me off if I was looking forward to eating something and someone like took themselves a big ol' serving and then just tossed most of it. I feel you on that. That would make me mad. For sure, for sure. I feel like we've talked about like eating leftovers on this channel, and some people, like Phil, who I forgive by the way, has said that like he would just let his wife eat anything of his, no care in the world, and I am just not that gracious as a spouse. Like, if there's something I specifically tell you don't touch it and you touch it, it's gonna be a big fight. It's the disrespect for me, you know? So I'm like, what is going on here? So she's kind of crashing out a little bit, and I'm kind of like, I mean, if it's going down the exact way that you've described, we can look at some of the comments here too before we get into part 2. He sounds incredibly selfish, to which this man's wife of over 20 years heart reacts this. Oof. This image from Family Guy of... God, I don't remember what episode that's from, but like the dad just eating everything and everyone else at the table just starving. He is not your husband, he is your problem. The fact that your husband considers his own needs and wants before that of a teen spouse or child is concerning. OP likes that as well. No, that's on purpose. I was once married to a man who would eat my snacks and complain about how he didn't like them. He just ate them so I couldn't eat them. Oof, she likes that too. So I think she's like, at this point, I don't want to read too into it, but I also strongly believe that a like on social media is basically an endorsement. It's basically you saying that you agree with what they're saying. And endorsing a comment like that kind of sends the message that she not only believes that her husband is selfish, but she believes that he's doing it on purpose to hurt the family. To hurt at least her, but possibly more than just her. So this man was depriving you of food since 1998 and you've remained married this whole time. She likes that too. I think dad should move out. He's disrespecting the entire family. She likes that. Make him buy the groceries. I mean, I also think that's fair advice too, right? Like, if you're living with someone and have been for 20 years and they continuously eat the last of stuff and they don't ever do the grocery shopping, like, if there's something that someone really wants to eat, but I also really want to eat it, if I like absolutely have to have it, I can't think of a specific situation right now because, like, I mean, you guys have seen me live on air here text my husband and ask if I can eat his food, you know, like I communicate about it. But let's say that I did, like, I just couldn't help myself, I had to smash it, I feel like I would just go out and replace it. So it is an extra added layer of disrespect if, like, they have that option and they choose not to. I think that's also a big reason that a lot of people kind of wanted more context. And like I said, she does end up responding to quite a bit. So in regards to Crashouts, not only does she kind of crash out about her husband's own alleged behavior, but people in the comments crashed out on her. And they started getting pissed at her for tolerating it for over 20 years. Now they're mad at her. All right, sounds on.
Okay, great.
So this is
question.
in response to the question. So you're just allowing it to continue since 1998?
Okay, great question. Yes, I have been allowing it. It's not my choice, but is what I do is I hide my food. I don't make dinners. I buy enough food to keep in the fridge to keep people happy, but I don't buy anything that's my favorite. Stop being my favorite. Like, I don't plan on having cereal. I don't plan on having ice cream. I no longer drink any diet sodas because my husband doesn't know how to share. The way that I grew up was that if there was 6 ice cream bars and 6 people in the family, everybody got 1 ice cream bar. The way that my husband grew up was, if there is food, eat it as fast as you can. So I think that he grew up with food insecurity. There was 9 kids. They were very poor. And so he doesn't think that rule applies. So when we were first married and I would buy 6 ice cream bars, I wanted 3 and he should have 3. He ate all 6. And I was like, what is wrong with you? That is so rude. But I just realized he just can't help himself, or he doesn't want to help himself. I don't know. I am very, very like protective of my leftover food.
Man, this is like, I understand why people are pissed at her, which is crazy. It's not like I'm not pissed at him, because that's the exact way that I grew up as well, which it's interesting. I understand food scarcity. I understand food insecurity because I also grew up in a home where, like, we didn't get like spoiled with the best of food all the time. So like absolutely every little thing, like I remember as a kid, if I got $1 for the ice cream truck and I got to have an ice cream, I would eat it so slow because I wanted to savor every moment with that ice cream. Like, I get it, but my sibling and I still knew better than to like rob each other. Like, I remember there was one time with the toaster strudels where my sibling used 2 frostings on 1 strudel. And I was like, do you see what you've done? Now, one of us unlucky bastards is gonna have a frostingless strudel. How do you explain that? How do you even make up for that? And my sibling never did that again. Okay? We're not perfect people in this world, but we try to have some sense of balance, of law and order. That's crazy to literally every single one of the ice creams. Like, unless it was sitting there for a full month and you were just not touching them, that can be really annoying. Me and TJ have a rule of like, if you really let leftovers sit for like over 2 days, I get to eat it because it's gonna go bad. You know, it's gonna go bad. I'll let you know, like, last chance. I get to eat it today, but I'll let you know. It's crazy that she's just like, I just don't buy anything that I like anymore, and I don't make dinner. Like, okay, so he has food insecurity issues, so you've decided to respond to that by also developing food insecurity and forcing your children to develop food insecurity instead of communicating effectively with your spouse. Like, unless she's tried over and over again and he's just like, well, no, I will eat whatever I want. Like, what is going on?
But only for like one day. So we now have this rule where it's like, okay, if I brought home leftovers from a restaurant that I want to eat, I have 24 hours to eat it. And after that, go ahead. And usually he'll ask, he'll be like, hey, do you mind if I have this pasta in the fridge? And I'll say yes. That's pretty much the only thing that I've really stood my ground on. The rest of the stuff I just don't care about anymore. I was like, you know what? He does not go to the grocery store. He calls it going.
So she admits it. She admits that, like, she literally just does not stand her ground. Like, she goes to check for an ice cream. She sees all 6 are gone. And at this point, it seems like the guy would probably leave the empty box in there too. You know what I mean? And she's just like, whatever, like, guess I'll add it to the grocery list and I'll go pick them up. Like, why would he stop doing it at that point? Like, you know what I mean? And it's not even like he's pulling the strings here. It's kind of like, if someone just starts doing stuff for you regularly, very few of us will be like, why are you doing this? Stop. Most of us will just kind of allow it and accept it, you know?
To town. We live 1 mile from 3 grocery stores, and he calls it going into town. And that's another way that he grew up. They grew up outside of town. So if they went to town, it was like getting the horse and buggy ready. He drives past 3 grocery stores every day to and from work, and he comes home for lunch. So he can stop and get what he wants to. He just doesn't want to. He will go to the gas station to buy any kind of drink that he's currently drinking, which is anything but water, pretty much. So some type of sparkling water. He's been doing a lot of Liquid Death lately. Sometimes he's on a Diet Coke or Diet Pepsi kick. I just don't care anymore. I just don't try to keep up with him. But now that my son is getting upset, we might have to establish some rules. So I told my husband, I was like, listen, our kid's mad because you ate all the chicken. He's like, I didn't know it was his chicken. I was like, well, it wasn't his chicken. It was the family's chicken. Do you understand that? And he's like, yeah, I understand. I just probably ate too much of it. And I was like, yeah. So I just bought 2 rotisserie chickens, and one's for you and one's for the kid. So please don't touch it.
Again, there's like no communication here. Like, because she gave up so long ago, back in 1998, and just never corrected him and never told him, like, hey, it makes me upset that you don't save any food for me. She basically taught him, like, you can eat whatever you want. Like, why would he think differently? And then you can't just, like, surprise get mad at him when you kind of set this standard. Like, you told him since 1998, you can literally eat whatever you want. There is no limit at all. Then we're gonna change that. Liquid Death is like a carbonated water. TJ loves it. I know that's funny that she's like anything but water, then cites a water. So we've got one more video here from this woman responding to a comment. Why do you put up with it? Another great question. Like, she clearly I don't think she loves her husband. I don't think she respects her husband. I think she has a lot of resentment and contempt for her husband. Why are we married? I would love to know.
I put up with my husband's selfish behavior. He has a lot of other redeeming qualities, and I also have some annoying qualities. I can't think of any off the top of my head, but I just think that people in general are not easy to live with, and I feel like when you have a set of problems like out on a wash line, you would still pick your own problems every time. So the goodness in my husband outweighs the bad and the annoying. And also, most of the things that he does that are annoying is just a man thing. So if you're a straight woman and you choose to live with a man and you want to stay married to them, you're just gonna have to deal with crap. Now,
I think this is a lot of cope. And it's also a lot of infantilizing men, which, like, there is a lot of stereotypes and, like, broad brushstrokes. I've done it plenty of times in my woman-splaining series of, like, this is why men do this, and da-da-da-da. And it's, you know, obviously meant to be pretty facetious and mostly jokey, but you're on here for several videos complaining actively, and like we can tell that like you are very upset about this. Like, this does strongly affect you. This is not like a hee hee ha ha, like sometimes my husband's farts smell funny type of like all men do this and you're just gonna have to deal with this stuff. Like, I really don't think most men would do this. I really don't think most men do this. I think most men agree, yeah, if you buy 6 ice creams and there's 2 people living there, ideally you each get 3 ice creams. And if not, you talk to someone, you go, hey, do you mind if I have one of the last ice creams? Like, I think most men understand that. And I think that she's kind of like, just kind of telling herself that, you know, this is just normal and regular. She seems very avoidant. Like, she would just rather not confront the issue, just not argue. She would just rather do anything but actually resolve the issue. And now that's becoming her kid's problem. Like, they say that, you know, if you don't take care of your own storms, it's gonna rain down on your kids, you know? Yeah, 17 Master says, we went from my husband to all men just like that, huh?
my child does not have food insecurity at all, I promise. There's plenty of food in the house. He was out of the exact food that he wanted. There was also like 2 things of really yummy tri-tip steak that my son makes, this delicious steak on the stovetop with butter. It's so good. So he could have made that. He was just mad because he wanted the rotisserie chicken. There was still like apples and bread. And when I was a kid, we had to eat a can of soup. That's what my parents would tell us, like make a sandwich or eat a can of soup. My children have never...
Right, but what's up with the hierarchy? Like, comparing, like, well, my kid has it better than I had it isn't going to erase the clear hierarchy that is present, which was, right, but why does dad get to literally eat everything? Why does no one else in the house get to have favorite food? Because we're not allowed to, because he eats everything.
Had a can of soup. So food insecurity, it's not for them. I understand what you guys are saying, and I'm trying to address it. And I did ask my husband, like, do you understand that your son was upset you ate all the chicken? And he's like, well, I didn't know it was his. I was like, it wasn't his, it was the whole family's. And he was like, okay, yes, I did eat too much of it. I will consider that in the future. I just don't know if he actually will. And I know that you guys think I'm making him excuses. He can be a jerk. Like, he can just be a man and just dumb. But I think it's a male quality. And unless I can become a lesbian and find a great wife, this is what we have. Like, when my friends are dating and they complain about something a man does, I'm like, but that's just what men do. It's just who they are. So I think...
What the hell? So she's trying to say, oh, well, the reason that I deal with bullshit is because men are bullshit, and unfortunately, I'm too straight to not deal with bullshit. This is exactly like when misogynists still have a wife, but they will never ever truly respect her. They just want to use her. Like, people say misandry doesn't exist, but like, she hates her husband. And clearly, if what she's saying is true, he has flaws, he has reasons that someone might be mad at her, but like I said, she's not communicating with him at all. She's just avoiding everything. And instead of like being like, my husband has his own autonomy and his own ability to navigate choices and respect me and hear me out and change his behavior for our family, she's chosen to just create almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy of like, well, I guess he'll just never change. I guess this is just what I have to deal with because men are terrible. Like, what? There are plenty of us out here, like, married to our best friend, really not worrying about this. And, like, yeah, your best friend isn't perfect, but, like, you talk about it, you communicate, you compromise. You don't come online and be like, I mean, yeah, no, things are never gonna change. Like, why bother? Like, what in the Eeyore are you doing right now on TikTok?
That's just what I've accepted, and maybe it's because I was raised Mormon, and like I said, when I brought up some of these issues very early on to my family, they all said that I was in the wrong. I was the one that was being ridiculous, and I had to change. And so, and you know, throughout the past, 26 years, when I do bring it up, it just doesn't change. And from my point of view, I think it has a lot to do with like his ADHD, that he just doesn't like think too far into the future. He also, like, I don't make dinners anymore. It used to be that I would make a big dinner, I would save him a plate, put it on the microwave because there's always teenagers at my house and everybody would just eat everything, and I would make sure that he had food because I'm nice like that. But he just doesn't have the same consideration that I do, and I don't think that'll ever change, and I just don't care. Like, unless you guys have been married for over 25 years, it's just a totally different kind of rodeo, and it just doesn't bother me that much, I guess.
Once again, the classic just kidding, we're fine, where they say, well, you guys just don't understand marriage. It's just all like this. We all just hate each other and we talk shit about each other in public, and you guys just don't get it. Like, honey, no.
It bothers me enough to like say something about it on TikTok because I just think it's kind of funny, but it doesn't bother me enough that I would divorce him. Like, what am I going to put on the divorce papers? Man ate all the chicken. My husband drank all the Diet Coke. Like, it just, I don't know. It just kind of seems
irreconcilable differences. Like, people literally divorce people like that all the time. What?
silly. So I just deal with it. And I know that's.
So her whole response to this is, I just deal with it. I just deal with it. That's marriage. You just deal with it. I gotta read these super chats. Golems and Goblin, thank you for the generous 10, says, this is making me mad enough that I'm gonna spend money. As a straight male from a long line of straight males, we don't effing do that shit. Her husband is just a greedy a-hole that's not okay. Yes! That's what I'm like, I really cannot think of any men in my life who, like, would do that. I really can't. And I have dealt with many, many men. I've had kids who eat the last of something and leave the box in there. We talk about it. We're getting better. But these are kids, full grown men though. They really are not just out here behaving like that. Tracy Kent, thank you for the generous 5, says, my husband was like this during his drinking days. Now 2 years sober. It's tough, but you need to have a good sit-down conversation about it. Yeah, drinking will definitely make you a totally different person. When you get the munchies when you're drunk, you're like practically preparing for hibernation. You don't even like remember what all you ate. You're just on autopilot. There's a lot of things wrong with drinking. But this is an interesting situation because at first, even though I'm anti-partner shaming, I was going to validate her crash out pretty high up there. I was actually gonna say, you know what? This crash out's actually fairly valid. I would not like it if someone was eating all of the good food all of the time, and I wasn't even allowed to get anything I like, you know? I would really hate that. But then as she kept admitting more and more that she's never really fought him on it, she just kind of rolled over and let him do it. What are you even crashing out about? You just told us you don't care. You're not going to change things. Your kid is probably going to have to learn to completely defend themselves. So, like, I'm actually going to rate it really low on the crash out scale because it's not going to do anything. You don't care for anything to change. So why are you pretending to crash out? I don't get it. It's so aggravating when someone is constantly complaining, but they refuse to do anything about the situation that they're in. They just like accept it, but they still want to keep complaining about it. It's one of the most aggravating things people can do. SVR says, I love my peaceful single person household. Yeah, being single is fine. I don't think there's anything wrong with being single. I think there's too much value placed on like needing to have a partner. It's great. I love having a partner. I love talking about how to keep a good partner. But being single is also fine. This is an interesting take. I want to read this comment from Aaron. He says, a man needs to be the leader of his house, and the leader leads by example and eats last. He needs to show strength and self-control. He's just a jackass. I like when we all eat at the same time, personally. No matter who gets served first or last, it's usually pretty polite to wait to eat with everybody if you can. If you can. Victoria Felix said she was raised in an LDS family, so she's resenting him being the head of the household and limits her ability to advocate for change. She's tied herself into the role she's taken. Yeah, like I said, I think she has very deeply ingrained avoidant behaviors for whatever reason, but I also feel like she's had every opportunity to allow him to be a leader while still saying, like, hey, King, save me an ice cream sandwich. You know? She's had every opportunity. She just wants to piss us off. Anemic royalty, why can't I send super chats? For weeks, all I get is my phone freezing and message not sent. I have no idea. Obviously, super chats are coming in. I haven't blocked anybody. I'm not sure if there's an issue with your card or you got to message YouTube, but that's a unique one. I have not heard that issue before. All right. What's the next one I want to do? This one. And then I do got to wrap it up. I'm running out of steam. My mod that I just made fun of might be onto something. I might need more fuel before I continue living. And I gotta work on my full Cheating Chelsea mid-case review video / Spark Notes synopsis. Gotta start printing and cutting out my faces for the master chart. It's gonna be good. But we got time for more crashing out. Let's format this nice here. Let me get the super chat. Trey Poe, thank you, says donating for the trip. As a reminder, look at that. We are 61% of the way of sending me to DC and back. That's very generous, you guys. That's really impressive for 2 days. I gotta say, not too shabby. Not too shabby. But all right, as we go into this next one, I think we all know what it's like to have our feelings hurt by our kids. You know, kids, they just say things. They say things without thinking. They do things without thinking. Back when my kid was younger and had really, really, really bad acne before going on Accutane, my kid used to draw pictures of me, and she would top them off by putting little red dots all over my face. Just kid things, right? But sometimes our kids do things and some parents just react really offensively to it, and like beyond what I would say is a normal reaction. Some parents, they're beyond just like helicopter parents. They're a bit too clingy. They're a bit too needy and emotionally dependent on their children. And sometimes what we've been seeing more and more with social media as people tell on themselves more and more and publicize absolutely every single mental breakdown they have, we're starting to see situations of parents just absolutely losing it when their kids don't do exactly what they want them to or dare to show any kind of independence. And I want to know what you guys think about it. Okay? Audio only crew, we have a woman who is freshly out of the shower and clearly feels so strongly that we had to record this video. I mean, fresh out of the shower. Luckily, nothing is showing, but we are quite barren for this video. Oh, sorry, I forgot to do the audio.
So I just got stood up by my son. Tomorrow is his first day of high school. And I asked him, want to have dinner with me? And I said, you pick. And while I was in the shower, he texted me that he was going to play basketball with his friends. So just having a moment. So
if your son's friends find this, and they will find this, he will never hear the end of it. They will put this clip into GarageBand and remix it into various songs. They will superimpose images of you in your towel with your wet hair onto cakes. They will constantly be quoting this. He will literally never live it down. Now, a couple of technicalities. First of all, he technically didn't stand you up. Technically, he changed plans. It's not like you showed up there and then were waiting only for him to never arrive. He just let you know, hey, I actually want to go play basketball with my friends. And like, you gotta admit, there's gonna come a time where your kid is just going to rather play with their friends than hang out with you. And there's also going to be times that kids just have to accept that they might want to be with their friends over spending time with their parents, but there's a time and a place where you make that sacrifice for your parent. In this situation, her son made a commitment to have dinner with his mom and should have shown up to that commitment, right? I agree. He did blow off their plans. Didn't really stand her up, but you got to be careful with language like that, especially in this world of those kind of boy moms, the ones who like husband son their kids. So you really want to be nice and clear on that. But he blew you off, and that's not cool, and that sucks. really needs to be a private conversation. That really ought to just be between you two. And I'm not sure even like what, do you punish your kid for that? I don't really know if that's like something you can even punish them for. I would just kind of say, like, I'm really disappointed. We made plans, and, it's really a person of character sticks to their plans or makes a real effort to reschedule, right? Like, you kind of blew me off, and that really sucks. See what they have to say about that. Hopefully, they're like, I'm so sorry. Let's reschedule. If your kid doubles down and he's like, listen, Ma, I don't want to hang out with you all the time. You have to deal with that. Then you might just have to, create a safer place for yourself. You might just have to say, like, okay, well, then we're going to just spend some time apart. I'm going to go out to dinner with other people. You let me know what you want to do. You know what I mean? But you can't force it. You really can't force it. That's going to push them away even more. What's going to push them away even more, is uploading videos like this. Mama, get your clothes on. What are you doing making this the whole world's business? And not just this, but like, not even in your drawers, fully booty crack naked? That's so cringe and embarrassing, dude. No. I can't. I really thought this might be satire, but alas, I went to her page. F the fairy tale. Amber, love and life after 50, starting over at 57. Divorce, empty nest. WTF is next. Apparently, just like filming fresh out of the shower is a regular thing for this one. And AI videos, I guess. Oh, that's so embarrassing. And like leaving it up. When I first saw that video, I was like, surely this is a re-upload on an account that like makes fun of people who post this. But no. Despite the comments, I mean, like, let's look at these. She's keeping this up. She's limited the comments, but she's not going back on her word here. This person says, he's a teenage boy, not your man, lady. This is weird. You're embarrassing yourself and your son. Take this down. There's still time to delete this. You couldn't tell us this with a shirt on. Emotional incest. That's the word I was looking for earlier. Thanks, chat section. God, take this video down. I get that you might dig the attention and support from strangers, which she's getting the attention part. I'm so far not seeing any support. That is missing right now. But it will give passive aggressive to your son and his friends, classmates, teachers, everyone. Teachers is a good point too, because people really think that the only one gossiping on school campus is the students. Oh, hell no. The teachers know everything too. Better believe that. He didn't stand you up. He never said yes. I thought he did, but anyway, not sure why everyone is hating on her. She's hurting. I would be too. No, it's fine to have your feelings hurt. I don't think that's the part anyone's upset by. I think it's the coming online booty ass naked with nothing but a towel and making all of it our business. I think that's the cringiest part. Wow, you actually felt the best thing to do in the situation was post this? My God, woman, stop. What the fuck is the last first day? I mean, I know what that means. That's not stood up. He canceled. Why would you post this? You sound so desperate. By this video, I'm not surprised he chose basketball with his friends. Get a life. Maybe he's embarrassed you make videos of yourself wrapped in a towel talking about him. I get you're sad, but most teens don't want a parent that goes viral with weird posts. True. How about you use your communication skills? Be proud of him. His friends love him. He is dynamic, and above all, he knows he can trust you. It's so funny. You're scary. I'm glad he did. Ball is life. Why you naked? You could have got ready first talking about my son stood me up naked. Out of morbid curiosity, I'm curious to see what her other videos look like. Like, what are we doing when we're not in a towel? And this. Smegging usernames. Thank you for the dono. I grew up with a brother who behaves like this. I grew up learning how to hide things I wanted to keep so well. They will resent both parents for this. You must still be on the fridge part. The having to separate the chickens. Oof. Shout out to Smeggin when you do catch up here. All right. I think she might have responded to some of the pushback here. She could have bounced back from this. Let's see. Let's see if she does. So you're saying there's a chance.
This message is intended for the keyboard cowards. And if you are someone who leaves positive comments, you can feel free to continue to scroll. However, what the fuck is wrong with you people? Because I don't give a shit what you think about me, but the fact that you go out of your way to make really judgmental and intentionally hurtful comments on people's postings just says so much about you, because you can just keep scrolling. There is no reason to comment on somebody's post if you are going to be negative. Does it make you feel better? Do you like being a bully? Do you like judging other people? I'd like to know about your perfect life. So, just think about that. Every once in a while. How maybe the people you are commenting on aren't as thick-skinned as I am. This message.
Classic. I don't care what you think, but I'm going to address exactly what you think. And nobody's perfect. You must be on a high horse, and everyone's mean to me, and you are all wrong, and I'm right. Classic. Like, we can't all be wrong. Like, there's a reason that there was almost no reprieve from the amount of people who were like, it would be in your absolute best interest to delete this. Like, I don't think that people were being unreasonably mean. Like, there wasn't anybody, like, making fun of your physical appearance for no reason, making fun of the way that you dress, making fun of anything superficial. It was literally a bunch of people who were like, this is a really terrible way of handling the situation that you're in, and it would truly be in everyone's best interest if you stopped. And she's like, why is everybody being so mean to me? Like, no, because be so for real right now. Like, that's not what happened, though. I want to see if she addresses this any further. How far does it go? What's this one? She addresses recording in a towel. She calls it Towelgate. Look, it's before she even says anything. It's the same way that, like, when you go to your friend's house, you really hope that his dad is not just, like, walking around in his boxers and his big beer gut hanging out. Like, you would just appreciate some decorum, is all. You know? Like, that's just uncomfortable for everybody involved.
So, Towelgate 2025. I made a post a couple of posts ago about how my son stood me up in a moment when I was going to take him to dinner so he could play basketball with his friends. And I was having a moment because I realized in that moment that my son's independence was now here. And so, excuse me, sorry, not sorry, that I just felt something about my son growing up as a solo mama who has raised this child on her own since he was 4 years old. So I'm sorry that my shoulders seem to bother you.
I'm sorry, really quick. I'm just getting so many narcissist red flags from this video as I hate the I was just minimization tactic right off the bat. We're now changing the story. She's trying to gaslight us into thinking that we saw something different than we actually saw. She's self-victimizing and also like throwing things in our face as like this noble, amazing thing to do when it's literally like actually the bare minimum, I'm afraid to say. Single mothers, absolutely, any single parent who's raising their child on their own deserves to be commended, but guess what? None of us were there when you laid down and made that child. This is, of course, referring to only consenting people. If you became a parent non-consensually, totally doesn't apply to you. Completely different situation. But for parents who just went out, did the thing that typically gets you pregnant, got pregnant, like, yeah, you have to raise your kid. And you don't get to hold it against them that you raised them. You don't get to say, well, I raised you by myself so I can treat you any sort of way that I want and post anything that I want about you online. I guess you can. There's nothing illegal about making an extremely passive-aggressive video designed to guilt trip your son. And let's make no mistake, that is what we saw. Despite this little story you're trying to concoct now, you can do that legally. But I have a feeling that in a few years' time, this is going to be one of those why doesn't my kid talk to me anymore situations, and you're just going to be wondering why, and then you're going to label your kid the narcissist. But now she's trying to change it as like, I was just getting so emotional that he was finally so independent. I was happy that he didn't need to come to dinner with me. Be so for real. None of us believe you. You're lying. You're gaslighting. And none of us buy it, girl.
It's freaking terry cloth, people. Get over yourselves. So, Towelgate 2020.
Wow, so she's actually getting a lot of supports in the comments on this one, which I was not expecting, but we got to switch up here real quick. This is my first impression of you, and I couldn't follow fast enough. Raising independent children is the goal. You're doing great, mama. Us moms understand. Girl, I feel your pain. Stop, calm, and proceed. All of us moms have those moments. No. No. But I don't know. Come around victory for her, I suppose. We got him in the end, dog. We got him, boys. So, okay. What do we rate that crash out on a scale of 0 to 10 from least to most valid? 0 being that was not a valid crash out at all. 10 being, you know what? Like, that's a normal mom moment. She's right. We all have those moments. Who hasn't done that? I'm actually going to give her like a 1 or a 2. Because like I said, I think that it's very fair to be upset that your kid like blows off your dinner plans. I would be upset. Yeah. The rest of it, though, no, we don't make it social media's problem. We don't try to like use social media to passive aggressively guilt trip our kids. We don't use social media like try to build an army of a mob like almost against your own kid. We don't, no, we don't do that. We definitely put on clothes before we record. This ain't OnlyFans, okay, girl? Like, chill. Nobody wants to see that. You guys are with me on the 1 or 2 Crashouts. You guys are like, look, she had me for like 4 seconds. For like 4 full seconds. And that's about it. That's about it. Posting it? Nah. I'm with you. I'm with you. 1 towel out of 10. I don't know what the mother boy dance is. I'm not sure that I want to. But folks, this is where we're going to start wrapping things up. These last few moments are for you. For any final thoughts, questions, comments, concerns. My eyes are on the chat box. And here's our progress that we made today, by the way. With our super chat goal, we are between Monday's short stream and today's pretty short stream. We've made it 63% of the way to the goal. That is monumentally helpful when it comes to things. Doom for Zombies, time to go nap. That sounds amazing. I gotta get some chores done too. Gotta get some choring done. How about you guys? What have you guys got going on for this week and weekend? I'm curious. We've been keeping it chill for a bit, but clearly November is going to be spicy. Have a safe trip to DC, right? Truly, I hope nothing crazy happens. And thank you for the reminder, Dylan. Definitely, if you like Dungeons and Dragons, tabletop RPGs, tune in for my husband at OTL Rooks streams on all of his channels, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. They have been starting early, though, at 7 p.m. You're right to say that, Dylan. 7 p.m. is a safer time now. They've been trying to meet a little bit early, but it's a really solid group. He's got a great camera system where it focuses on both the players and the tabletop. He does amazing character voices. The party is really consistent and engaged. It's such a great group. We've been meeting up with them for years. I can only use the money from Phil's Super Chats for narcotics in DC. I mean, very valid, of course. Nothing screams professionally representing fathers of America like just absolutely ripping lines of sugar in the White House. For many reasons, that was a joke. Midterms and papers due. I don't miss that. I don't miss that. Shadow God, did you watch the Members Only Live? Did you find it? Did you cry at what you missed out on? We'll cover it. We'll cover it. I'm not done yet. I have so much to analyze. I do need you to know, though, before we even get into it, I hate Mai so much. I hated Mai. 0 out of 10 anime character. Too late. We already clipped it. They did find coke in the White House. I would not be surprised. I'm not much of a conspiracy theorist, but if you were to go around and ask like most Americans, like, do you think they've ever done coke at the White House? Like, I don't think you would get many people who are like, no, not a chance. Terrible Swede says, hey now, unsubscribed got housed in the Pentagon's basement, so anything can happen. Mai from Josie the Tiger and the Fish. Wait a minute, Shadow, are you serious right now? Because this is actually about to be a massive end of show crash out. Are you really telling me that you have just spent the last like 9 weeks super chatting and insisting that I watch Josie the Tiger and the Fish so that we can all appropriately use it to respond to Shoe on Head's average male fantasy video. And this whole time, you've never even watched it yourself? Shadow God, I'm going to crash out. If you don't go watch that anime, every time you show up, I'm going to remind you to watch it now. Unbelievable. Shadow God, I don't know if I've ever been trolled this hard, and I've been trolled so hard. Okay, I've seen the movie, I haven't seen the live yet. Oh, thank God I can breathe again. 0 out of 10 crash out, as it turns out. Okay, but yeah, we hate Mai though, right? We hate Mai. I can't end the stream until you admit that Mai is the absolute worst. She played herself. Oh man, no, it's just a 1-movie anime. Nothing to binge. Josie the Tiger and the Fish. We're probably gonna react to it and Shoe on Head's video that kind of addresses this anime next Members Only Live. So something to look forward to if you guys want to. I think we might start like a little movie club in our Discord. Might make a little extra one that's like movie club. Might do a book club, but movies probably more on brand, and then we just can all discuss it. I hate the oh no stepbro meme so much. Speaking of trolls, Phil is trolling me so hard today. Having her crash out day, apparently. Every once in a while, we gotta just crash the fuck out. Shadow God's been busy AF, it seems. Understandable. Understandable. Alright, it's time to get out of here. I was gonna film a little short, but the short's gonna be familiar to everybody who watched the live today, because it's just gonna be about that Chelsea video that we reacted to today, but in real format for the non-live gang. Alright. Tell TJ to make an OTL Discord. He has one for his group. I don't know if he was thinking about opening it up to the public, though. Things to think about. Okay, I did not eat enough. It is time for me to go. So, with that, thank you guys for another great week of live stream. Look forward to some videos, but if you're a Patreon or YouTube member, you already have access to them. So, nothing to worry about, and I will see you guys next week or in the Discord. Okay, bye.